Please watch PYQ1 discussion. So this video is a continuation. My point is that in any case study, raise substantive issues to give depth. Okay. Now I am going to take one example. This is a 2018 case study. Let us identify the main elements of this. Rakesh is a responsible district level officer who enjoys trust of higher officials. Knowing his honesty, the government entrusted him with the responsibility of identifying the beneficiaries under a healthcare scheme meant for senior citizens. So I want you to underline. So Rakesh is a stakeholder. Beneficiaries are stakeholders. Senior citizens. This is a healthcare scheme. Like this you should underline. Next, criteria to be a beneficiary is the following: 60 years, reserved community, family income of less than 1 lakh income, post-treatment prognosis likely to be high to make a positive difference to the quality of life of the beneficiary. Post-treatment prognosis. So Rakesh is to implement this scheme. And one day, an old couple visited Rakesh's office with their application. They have been the residents of a village in his district. The old man is diagnosed with a rare condition that causes obstruction in the large intestine. As a consequence, he has a severe abdominal pain, frequently that prevents him from doing any physical labor. The couple has no children to support. The expert surgeon they contacted is willing to do the surgery without charging any fees. However, the couple will have to bear the cost of incidental charges, such as medicines, hospitalization, to the tune of 1 lakh. So 1 lakh. The couple fulfills all the criteria except criteria B. What is this criteria B? Belonging to reserved community. However, any financial aid would certainly make a significant difference in their quality of life. How should Rakesh respond to the situation? So this is a case of there is a scheme with clear-cut rules versus somebody not falling under a criteria but deserving. Many questions are of this type. Scheme with clear-cut rules. So, if one follows the rules very clearly, then this couple will not be eligible. Okay, though they deserve very much. So, how do we look at this? Of course, I know most students rightly write that no rigid rules, be flexible, help the couple. I am sure most students write like this. Take it as an ethical issue of rigidity versus flexibility. So they tend to write help the couple. Okay. Are they right? Yes, they are right. I think so. This is what UPSC expects also. Okay. But here, what kind of substantive issues you can raise? Okay. I think you can include, like in the previous PYQ1, Max Weber's model, criticism of Max Weber's model. What is Max Weber's ideal type and how modern bureaucracy or the present bureaucracy instead of modern is seen differently. This one, rejection of Max Weber's ideal type. Weber's model is that bureaucrat is a tool, no conscience, no compassion, no values other than working as per the rules. Whereas what is expected is a bureaucrat is a person with a conscience, with a compassion, with values of public spiritedness. So, since bureaucrat is not simply a tool, he doesn't go only and strictly by rules. Okay. So, one can include Max Weber's ideal type and how it is supposed to be defective. And so one should have values and apply. Okay, because the bureaucrat is supposed to have conscience and compassion. So one is likely to versus rule orientation versus compassion, empathy, which a civil servant is expected to have. Okay. So this is one way of doing this, and that is not bad. Good answer. But I have something more to say. It is true, civil servant should have compassion, and then out of compassion he should help. But then the same thing can be looked at differently, and that is what I want to do in this lesson. Here you need a somewhat more refined ideas on civil service. These refined ideas are given in this book, The Responsible Administrator, written by Cooper. Okay, an approach to ethics for the administrative role. And he says civil service is working on behalf of the citizens. On behalf of the citizens. Civil service is to work on behalf of the citizens, and it specializes in public good. Okay. So he conceives of civil service like this, specializing in public good. But what is public good? Here Cooper says contemporary societies are heterogeneous heterogeneous societies, multiple classes, castes, religions, regions, and all to be served by the public administration. In a heterogeneous society, if all to be served, then Cooper argues there can be no one way. So, there has to be diversity of approach from civil service. Diversity of approach in civil service. This diversity should include the marginalized. Diversity should include the marginalized. So, which means, and then here he says that when there are unequals, okay, rich and poor, how should the rules be? Rules should be in a position to help in a proactive way the poorer people. Okay. So, differential treatment of the marginalized is what public interest is. This is what common good is. Okay. So, better way to understand this idea, I felt, is Rawls' theory, where he arrives at certain principles of justice principles that help all, paying more attention to the marginalized, is what Rawls' theory. He says basic rights should be given prior importance, and next after that equality of opportunity, and then difference principle, and in this order: basic rights top priority, equality opportunity next, and difference principle. Difference principle is treating different people differently, unequals unequally, and favoring the marginalized. India's reservation is an example. So, what does this mean? It means that it is not that rules are good, they are correct, but officer should be compassionate to serve the old couple. Rules are good and correct, but one should be compassionate to serve the old couple is a wrong way to think. Applying Rawls' approach and the notion that the civil service is for common good, rules are not good. It says rules are not good, because if a rule hasn't included an old couple like that, it means the rules are not final, proper. Okay. So, it is the inherent limitation of the rules because of which an officer should include the old couple, which means rules are not perfect. Rules can't accommodate all. Though they have to treat unequals unequally and give more attention to the marginalized. So which, because the imperfection of the rules, then he has to help the old couple. So old couple have to be helped, but not out of compassion, but justice. So it is the duty of the officer to help the old couple. Okay, it is not an act of compassion. So incidentally, we are covering many topics like what is public interest, what is accountability, and what are values of civil servant. Okay, and the idea of conscience and the idea of justice. So all this we are raising. But anyway, pay attention to the specifics of the question also. The specifics is that the couple doesn't belong to reserved community. So one can argue that benefits to reserved community may be diluted, but in this case there is only one man. But if there are more people like that, then there can be an argument for a special scheme. But this is not the case. So like this you can pay attention to the specifics. Okay. So I found Cooper's book is very insightful, and I covered them in certain classes. And if you want to listen to the classes summarizing responsible administrator, visit feynmanias.in. Videos have timestamps too and make notes.